Dolly friends. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy weekend. I've got a story today to share with you, and I hope I tell it well. And there's a reason why I have these guys out, these plushy, plastic faced or vinyl faced vintage dollies. This one actually takes a bottle. It's a tiny bottle for the size of that baby. Let's see. My camera's been like shifting down a little bit. So you can see all of him. And we've got this little girl. Now, none of these babies are actually Rushton babies. They are vintage. This one, I've done some research. It's from Green Trading Company, and I can't find the year. So I'm thinking that this one may be like from the 80s or 90s. But these two are older. They're definitely, I would say 50s, maybe early 60s. That's my opinion. But they're not actual Rushton. But I had a Rushton Santa Claus, and I had another baby who I don't know if she was Rushton or Knickerbocker, and she is the star of my story today. So put on your seatbelt because we're going all the way back to 1972. Yes, I am dating myself here, but I don't know, this story has always been with me. I've never forgotten about it. So I was given a doll, a plastic face like these guys. It was a baby girl. She was light pink with bunny ears, and she was not only musical, but when you played her music, her top half would kind of wiggle around, like if this were her, which it's not, and it was a bigger doll, but the top half would go kind of like this, and she was a sleeping baby, but as you played the music, that would happen. And I named her Kendall. My parents had friends who had just had a baby, and when you're 3, you don't know a whole lot of names, so I'm assuming it would have either been Kendall or Big Bird. So I went with Kendall. Okay, so I don't know how long after that we went on a trip. My parents always liked New England. We used to go to Vermont and Cape Cod and Boston and Massachusetts. So we go to Boston, and they took me to a concert. Yes, they were hippies. They, took me around everywhere. So it was at the Boston Common. It's August 14th, 1972. I did look up those details because I had thought it was the Boston Tea Party, but the things didn't match up with what I remembered, so I actually called my mother. It was a Savoy Brown concert with Fleetwood Mac. And the funny thing is, I'm assuming that we didn't go up there for the concert because 2 days later they played the same concert like in the state where we actually lived. So I guess I know that they had friends up there. So we go to this concert, and I remember it being a big field, like a big open outdoor space. It was daylight when we arrived, and my parents put down a blanket, like a picnic type situation, and we sat on the blanket for the concert. And it got dark, and I'm assuming that's when the band started playing. And during the Fleetwood Mac segment, of course, I had Kendall with me because I brought her everywhere, as we do when we're little, and sometimes when we're big. But Kendall was nowhere in sight, and of course, I got very upset. And word spread. To the people next to us, the people in front of us. People start looking for my doll, and I don't know who it was who actually went to the stage and told the band. But this is the cool part. It was Christine McVie who actually announced to the whole crowd, and it was big, that, a little girl lost her doll and asked everybody to look for my doll. And I remember, I so vividly remember like the hippies tearing open trash bags, and literally the music stopped, while people looked for my doll. um, and everybody was looking, and my heart was broken. And I don't know how long the search went on for, but unfortunately, nobody found my doll. Now, I'm not a suspicious person by nature at all, but one of those damned hippies stole my doll with every single person looking for it. Who wouldn't want to be the hero in that case? Maybe have Christine McVie say, like, hey, we found your doll. But no, that didn't happen. Kendall did not come home with me. And of course, I was I remember the fear and the panic. It's like if your dog runs away, that's what I felt. I was 3, and Kendall was a big part of my world. So at some point we make the long trek home. I think it's about 6 or 8 hours, somewhere in that time frame, to where we lived. And I'm sure I fell asleep in the car, as I always did. Even if I didn't fall asleep in the car, I'll tell you a secret. I would pretend to be sleeping because I didn't want to walk, into the house. One of the houses we lived in had a lot of stairs, and I wanted to be carried. So if I wasn't actually sleeping, I would be fake sleeping. But I was real sleeping because I wasn't aware of any stops that they made on the way. And my father told me to go open the front door. I got out of the car and I opened the screen door, and in between the screen and the regular front door was a doll. It was not Kendall. This one was a red stuffed doll with a plastic vinyl face. I don't know if she had music, but she did not have bunny ears. And I mean, I was happy to have the doll. I was still sad because it wasn't Kendall. And I wish I had that doll today. And honestly, I bought a similar one many years ago on eBay, not nearly as nice as the one I had. But I can't even find her. I don't know. Those types of dolls run away from me. So I've got these 3. Hopefully, they'll stay with me. And that's my doll story. Christine McVie announcing on the stage to all the hundreds of hippies who were there, that a little girl lost her doll. And, for a very long time, I assumed it had been Stevie Nicks, but Stevie Nicks wasn't with the band for another 3 years after that. So Christine McVie was the only female in Fleetwood Mac at that time, so it was her. That's my little kind of brush with fame, I guess, but I would have rather had my doll. But I do think it's a cool story to tell. And thank you for listening. Everyone have a good night. Stay warm. I love you guys.